Well, hello, and welcome to the Geek Battalion Vets Podcast Halloween Special. I am Jimmy Voorhees, and I am joined by B.
And Duncan.
Yes. All right. We are a pop culture podcast hosted by a Marine, a soldier, and a cop with a focus on geek stuff. We talk about all things geek with an objective to bring some light in this crazy world. I mean, we talk about everything, no holds barred. We get down into the dirty, and we give you our honest opinion on things. As you can tell, this week's theme is definitely Halloween because it is Halloween. Happy Halloween. Yeah. I love Halloween. It's my favorite. It's my favorite holiday after Independence Day because fucking America, right?
Amen.
So a lot of stuff going on for this episode. Tonight's episode is going to be our top three. It's a big three. But our top three favorite Halloween style movies. They can either be like the movies that scared the shit out of you, or just movies that you just like to watch around this time, or movies that you grew up with.
Growed it
up with. Yeah.
I feel like I'm in the Highlander right now.
All right.
No. I thought that was going to go on through the whole
I was going to say,
episode.
we're going to have to fix something.
Man,
I can't fucking hear myself think.
I'm going to trip balls here in a minute.
Yeah, no, that was just for the intro, kind of ham it up a little bit. But I do have a couple of special things here. We have some lightning, an evil laugh, and then a wolf howl. So you'll be hearing those throughout the episode.
And we also have one more. It's Duncan eating a chip.
Yeah. Protein.
Yeah. No, that's actually him like crunching somebody's neck.
Oh,
yeah.
I just killed a guy.
Do we have some celery? I know that makes like a good neck crunching sound.
A good knuckle pop or whatever. Yeah.
So which one is going to take the place of the inappropriate DJ buzzer for the night?
Oh, no, that's still here.
Oh.
Yeah.
You don't have a festive one?
Well, I mean, that was going to be the lightning.
Okay.
All right.
Or the werewolf.
Or the werewolf house.
The werewolf, yeah. Yeah, spooky.
There we go.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah. Well, I guess we'll just get right into the sit reps then.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Slightly longer one, but...
Bubble, toil and trouble.
Oh.
Fire, burn, cauldron, bubble.
No, that would have been like 40 seconds.
Yeah.
Full-size candy bars with D's nuts. No?
That's good. I like it.
Too, yeah.
No, but it's in line with something later on, but it's 3-4, lock the door.
Okay.
Yeah, the little ghostly girls. 3-4.
Freddy's coming for you.
Yeah.
I think we know what one of Jimmy's picks might be.
Well, spoiler.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what is the sit rep?
Welcome to the sit rep. This is where we talk about what we've been doing since the last time you heard from us. We talk about what we're listening to, what we're reading, what we're watching, what we're working on in our personal lives or geek-wise or whatever, and catch you up to speed with us. So,
I thought this was supposed to be the Halloween special, and I'm the only one that wore their Halloween costume. So what the hell?
Well, it's not Halloween, and you haven't finished my fucking costume, so...
Those are all good points.
Yeah.
Guys, it's definitely Halloween.
Oh, sorry. No, it is Halloween, and now I don't have a costume because you didn't finish it.
Oh, man.
So who are you?
This is a nightmare.
Yeah, what are you supposed to be?
Are you Fabio, or...
Call me Snake. No, can you just call me Snake for the rest of the episode?
No.
Damn it.
Okay, yeah, so we're joined by Snake tonight.
Yeah. Or B. Pliskin. Whichever you prefer.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, is that what you're going to go? Because I'm Jimmy Voorhees, so you're
Can I just be Snake? Do you guys overrule
you can be Snake.
I'm Snake.
Okay, you're Snake? Okay, snag a snack.
Well, not if you're going to say it like that.
There, I ruined it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what have you guys been up to? Other than brushing out your wig and...
I guess I didn't finish your costume, so... no, that's really all I've been doing.
Yeah.
Tried not to play Spider-Man.
Failing at that.
It really sucks watching my kid play. I'm like, give it to me.
Especially because they're probably not great,
Not
at,
great
it,
at it.
and it's even harder
Oh,
than to
that's
watch
so
it. And you're
Well,
frustrating.
he's way better at the traversing the city and swinging around.
It's just the combat.
But I'm way better at the combat. So I'll take it. But
Like my son, he loves to watch me play City Skylines. And then he's like, "Dad, let me play." And then I let him play, and it's just like, no, you put the power plant here, or the road goes like this, and it's just haywire and chaos, and it
my
makes
girls
my eye
like
twitch.
to play Mario Kart, and so sometimes we'll just let them play against each other, and oh my god, it's so fucking hard to watch. I got to put it at the slowest speed. I got to put the bumpers on the track. I got to give them the easiest track. And then sometimes we'll all four, me and my wife and the girls will play. And my wife just fucking trounces us. No mercy, just first place. And then an hour later, I've crossed for second place. And then the girls are 3 hours after that. It's
She wins. She's like, "Aren't you guys trying?"
Yeah, what's going on here? But
I did. My youngest has been. I have a original Xbox with emulators on it. I have thousands of old system games on there.
nice.
Cool.
Yeah, I had that since college.
Sounds illegal, but
Some dude at Geek Squad hooked that up for me. But
nice.
for a 6-pack or whatever it was that he. I don't know what he's got to get against Microsoft, but whatever. But anyways, my youngest has been playing Link to the Past on there, the old Super Nintendo game, and
Very cool.
He's terrible at it, but he loves it. And I'm like,
That's all that counts.
I have to encourage this.
Yeah.
And if by doing so I have to play it so you will continue to love it, then I'm okay.
Okay, I guess.
Yeah, it's just furthering the geekdom, and they'll get better at it as it goes on. All right. So that's what you've been up to then?
Yeah.
And dying over there?
I think I got some wig hair in the back of my throat.
Yeah. That's the end of Snake Plissken.
It's really hot in here. Hair's terrible.
Yeah, your hair is about as long as mine is for real right now. Your wig.
I know. Although I gotta say, best compliment I think my wife has ever given me. She said, "My God, you really look like Kurt Russell," and I'm like,
Oh.
You know what? The beard that you got going right now, and his beard, and then you add
I can
the
see
hair.
it.
I can see it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
eye
You
patch
could be a
really
stand-in.
sucks, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, I'd love to be. That'd be 40 years ago, but whatever.
No.
You guys are too nice. You say the sweetest things.
Yeah, we got to keep you
Yeah.
happy.
I've been watching One Piece, the live action on Netflix.
Nice.
Yeah.
How
It's
far
in-
into it did you get?
We're 3 episodes in. 2 episodes.
Yeah, I still haven't watched it yet.
I
we
watched the
just
first
we
2.
just watched the clown episode.
That's 2.
Yeah.
Buggy.
Yeah. I was not expecting pirates at all. I had no idea what One Piece was.
yeah.
And this is a really fun, little show. It's got Inaki Godoy. He plays Monkey D. Luffy. Luffy. They say his name differently all the time.
I don't know, but I think it's Luffy, but I honestly don't know. I feel like I can't ever remember it. So
Yeah, then we have Emily Rudd playing Nami, and then I can't even attempt this guy's name, but he's playing Zoro, and it's really cool, really, really fun take on it. I really like how they pull in the anime style. You see, it feels like it's actually a cartoon anime. You get these really wide mouth laughs, or these weird perspectives you wouldn't normally see, how things normally shot.
this sounds like an insult, but there's a lot of overacting too, very magnanimous performances in it, where it's you wouldn't see that in like a Scorsese movie or even like a Marvel movie or something, but it's you can tell it's intentional. It's a choice that they're making, and it's not just like they're bad actors. But I think that lends itself to kind of the over the top anime style too. So
Yeah. And the Zorro actor, he's doing. I think he's a standout. He's got 3 swords, and it's just really cool.
yeah,
How
he holds one in his mouth
Yeah,
when he
right?
busts out all 3 of them, one in each
Yeah.
hand and one in his mouth.
Yeah, pretty cool. So digging that. Watched Event Horizon.
Oh my God.
Yeah, 1997 with Sam Neill, Lawrence Fishburne, Jolie Richards, Jason Isaacs. Oh man,
That sound still gives me fucking nightmares.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
terrible.
we watched it because I brought the topic of this week's episode to my wife, and I was like, "So what's your movie that like scared you or like that you like to watch?" And she like, "Well, Event Horizon scared the shit out of me when I saw it." For those of you that haven't seen it, it's basically a ship that is able to create a black hole to travel, through time and space, is lost and then is found. And there's like some crazy shit that happens. Basically, like the whole ship is possessed by demons, and it's just really fun.
And Sam
cool.
Neill gets all like sliced up. Like, oh, that's so creepy.
Yeah.
I don't remember it being a particularly good movie, but it was creepy as shit.
Yeah, I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it like a 6. Like the story, there's like a lot of like, but as far as like a creepy story goes, yeah, that's creepy.
yeah.
It's
Nailed
creepy as
it.
fuck. Like there's a lot of like eyeless like moments, like you see the people's face and their eyes are like carved out or like pulled out. And like I can see how it would have been a scary, like pretty scary movie back in the day, but like we watched it and we were laughing at like how ridiculous some of the things
Right.
were. But
I've never seen it. I've never even heard of it.
It's
Honestly, but
creepy.
oh yeah,
It's directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, and he's the guy who directs all the Resident Evil movies. And
Oh,
he's
really?
married to Mila Jovovich. He also
That would
directed
explain why she's in
Alien
all
v
of them.
Predator. So
yeah. You say that and it has kind of a Resident Evil feel.
vibe.
Yeah, I can see his mark on it.
There's one scene where Sam Neill looks like he's got like a million paper cuts all over his body. It's fucking so gnarly.
Oh yeah. Lots of shock value. Cool little film. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been up to lately.
Cool.
Yeah.
I also watched the second episode of One Piece, so I'm enjoying it a lot. It's just time, and I kind of want to keep watching it with my wife, so getting that all to work together, I haven't been able to keep just bust through it. Kind of slowed down on Rebels, not for lack of interest, but just haven't had the free time. And what I've been listening to or doing instead, I started there's a book that came out not too long ago called MCU, The Reign of Marvel Studios. It's written by Joanna Robinson, I believe is her name. And basically it's like, because just a couple years ago, I think Disney and Marvel released like a history of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it's kind of like a very revisionist history, allegedly. You know, they're telling the stories they want you to hear about how they came to be so popular and whatnot.
History is told by the victors.
By the victors, right? Yeah. So it's a very sanitized version of it. It's called The Story of Marvel Studios: The Making of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But that came out while they were researching this book, and basically the author wanted to just understand how a studio could do what they'd done. She started researching it right after Endgame, which was, as we know, was the culmination of the first like 10 years of all their storytelling and wrapped up the Infinity Saga and everything. And so she just wanted to know how they were able to do it. She interviewed like over 100 people who are involved in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, writers, producers, Kevin Feige, lots of actors, like tons of different people who were in line to, direct movies or write movies that were then pushed to the side in favor of somebody else or stuff like that. So there's a lot of very interesting perspectives. I've been listening to the audiobook version of it on Audible because I had a credit, so I was able to get it for free.
Nice.
But just some of the, I didn't realize, we all knew that Ed Norton was obviously recast as the
Hulk.
Incredible Hulk for Mark Ruffalo. And I knew that, it was there's some drama and maybe Ed Norton's not easy to work with and maybe he wanted more money or something like that. But it sounds like truly it was like a difference in the vision of what they wanted. So when he came on for the Hulk movie, he was like, I'll do this, but I want a lot more creative control than you would normally give an actor, which is, I guess, apparently what he did on American History X, and it rubbed some people the wrong way, but then it won an Oscar, and so he kind of got this writing credit for that, and it really boosted his career. And he did the same thing on this, and he basically was like, I'm going to rewrite the screenplay. And so he goes off while they're in pre-production and quote unquote writes the screenplay and takes it back, and they film the movie, and he initially edited the movie too. He took it from the director and was like, I'm going to edit it. And he edited it into this 2 hour, 15 minute, which at that time was far and away the longest Marvel movie. 2 hour and 15 minute, Prometheus style drama where, he very generously put all of his Bruce Banner scenes in there and stuff like that, and made it very heavy on, his performance and whatnot. And then Kevin Feige kind of had to fight him on it. It was like, this is a action movie, a popcorn movie, not to diminish it, but we want it to be popular. And, so this isn't happening. And then I guess when he showed up I think it was a Comic-Con, they were talking about, they're asking him questions, and he was like, oh yeah, I wrote the movie. And the actual writer of the movie who wrote the initial screenplay was like, the fuck are you talking about? Every change you made was very superficial. The writer who they interviewed is like I named his next door neighbor Melina, and he named her Ladina or something like that. Just stupid, very fluff changes. Like
Beyonce.
Yeah. Very fluff changes to the script. And then he was trying to take this writer's credit. And this movie, it ended up going to WGA, so the Writers Guild, arbitration. And Edward Norton was not given the writer credit for it. And then I didn't realize either that Kevin Feige came out with a press release at I think it was in 2011, which would have been a couple years after this, but right before Avengers started really ramping up, the first Avengers that came out in 2012. And they basically just said, fuck you, Ed Norton, to they were like, we fired Ed Norton. And it's not because, I think I have it here. There's a quote in the book that Kevin Feige doesn't, or maybe it wasn't a quote, it was a review I read or something, but it was it's clear that Kevin Feige doesn't burn bridges unless you're Ed Norton. And it says, we have made the decision not to bring Ed Norton back to portray the title role of Bruce Banner in the Avengers. Our decision is definitely not one based on monetary factors, but instead rooted in the need for an actor who embodies the creative and collaborative spirit of our other talented cast members. The Avengers demands players who thrive working as part of an ensemble, as evidenced by Robert, Chris H., Chris E., Sam, Scarlett, and all of our talented cast. We are looking to announce a name actor who fulfills these requirements and is passionate about the iconic role in the coming weeks. So basically a fluffy, nice way of being this guy does not play well with others, and he's a fucking dickhead, and creatively we do not agree, so that's goodbye. Which is because you would not see Kevin Feige do that today. No. They would never explain why.
Well, I think, if I remember right, he wasn't the Kevin Feige we know today. He wasn't quite in that role yet. He didn't have the control that he had.
No, he did not have the same power because it wasn't. I guess Disney Disney bought them in 2009, but I think it was still after Incredible Hulk came out.
Right.
And then it was once Disney actually bought him, that he kind of took the actual role at where he is, because he went to Bob Iger and he kind of detailed, hey, this is what I plan for the MCU. And Bob Iger was like, sounds great to me. Like, you're up. But then like some of the other drama, apparently, like I said, this one ended in a WGA arbitration dispute. Like, tons of these Marvel movies have ended in WGA disputes over who actually wrote them, to include the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, which I had no idea.
The James Gunn kind of
so James Gunn is he is touted as the writer director of that movie, and I've never paid attention to the credits enough to see, but apparently a writer named Nicole Perlman actually wrote it and had been developing it, because they hired writers to have basically in like a creative spot where they could take any of the characters that Marvel had a license to that weren't being developed and just start working on a script. Like they were on staff writers to just start developing stuff, and then they could bring it to producers, and the producers could be like, yeah, this is good, or we need to tweak this, and let's actually put this in development, that sort of thing. So she picked Guardians of the Galaxy, and she had this whole Guardians script and picked the specific cast of Guardians that we see. So, Groot and Rocket and Peter Quill and all that stuff. And then they eventually decided they were going to move her script. And this was years after she had already developed it, but they were going to move it into production. And James Gunn kind of rewrote the script and tried to take credit for the whole thing and kind of minimize her involvement. And it went to arbitration, and they decided that both of them would get a writing credit for it, because they had both significantly contributed to the movie. But it's just interesting to see that like there's like if you guys have a chance, and the audiobook is a good way to do it, because you can get other shit done. I can't sit down and find time to read anymore, but like there's so much drama behind the scenes of all this shit, which like you expect in Hollywood there to be that sort of thing, but just the way that Marvel kind of portrays themselves as like this, family and family friendly, and like we work together well, and it's like, well, there's a lot of fucking drama behind the scenes for all this. Some of the other stuff that was really interesting was like Terrence Howard is very unhappy with Robert Downey Jr. for Iron Man 2, because Robert Downey Jr. demanding a bigger paycheck is why they couldn't pay Terrence Howard more, or refused to pay Terrence Howard more, and then recast Don Cheadle instead. And so he's pretty pissed about how Robert Downey Jr. got such a giant paycheck increase from that. And I guess when they called Don Cheadle and they offered him the role of Rhodey or War Machine, he was literally at his kid's laser tag birthday party, and they're like, "Hey, you have an hour to decide, and if we don't hear from you, then we're going to the next person and offering them the role." And he was like, "I'm literally at my kid's birthday party," and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, take 2 hours then." And he's just like,
"How nice."
All right, and like talked to his wife a little bit, and then ended up obviously taking it. But some of the other stuff that I thought was interesting, and I'm only about halfway through it just because it's 16 hours to listen to. But
wow.
Matthew Vaughn, so Kingsman and Kick-Ass and
X-Men
all those
First Class.
X-Men First Class. He was very nearly the director for Thor. Almost had that. He was sought after for that, and then they ended up going with Kenneth Branagh. They almost made a Runaways movie. They eventually made a show, but for a long time they had a very heavily developed Runaways movie script, which for those who don't know, the Runaways is basically a group of kids in the Marvel comics that discover that their parents are like an evil cabal of supervillains, and then run away, and then end up developing kind of their own powers and deciding what they're going to do and that sort of thing. Another fun fact that I didn't realize was the director of the first Avenger, Captain America: The First Avenger, is Joe Johnston.
Right.
I didn't realize that he also directed The Rocketeer.
Yep.
And then he was also the guy who designed the look of Boba Fett. He got famous in Hollywood by working on Star Wars and
being
designing
a prop or costume
he was like
designer,
a costume creative, and so when he was on the set of the first Avenger, because he was like such a creative guy, he was always hanging out with what they called their VizDev group, that they had developed to come up with like concept art and costumes and stuff before the actual costumers would make the costumes and shit like that. And he had the after hanging out with him, he had the set designers and the set builders just build him a secret room on the set. And then he would just hide in there and just draw like concept art and storyboard shit and like come up with stuff like for hours at a time, to the point where like the producers would show up and be like, where the fuck is Joe? Like, where is he? And they were all trained to be like, yeah, we don't know. We haven't seen him. Sorry. And he was just literally on set in a hidden room, just fucking hanging out, drawing, being creative, which I thought was very interesting. But yeah, so the guy
that's like very, very Steven Spielberg. Like, he initially got into the studio and he found an empty closet and he just put a desk in there and then started sitting behind it, and like people started coming to him, and like that's like part of his like mantra of how he like, or not mantra, but like backstory of how he became who he is. Like you make it.
Interesting.
The I won't get into the full details of it, but like the whole Marvel's 90s like bankruptcy battle shit that they went through with like Toy Biz buying them and like a whole bunch of bidding war for who would buy it, and like Avi Arad and Ike Perlmutter, like all of that stuff is super interesting.
Avi Arad had a bunch of like the sexual harassment stuff, didn't he?
They didn't mention any of that I remember hearing. But like he actually he worked at Toy Biz and he was a toy designer, and he was a super popular toy designer. Like all the stuff he made like sold really well, and then he started working on X-Men toys, and then was kind of responsible for the X-Men show getting made and the 97 X-Men or 96 or 94 X-Men show getting made, I guess it was. And shit like that. Like Kevin Feige used to work for Donner Schuler Donner production company, who's what's her name? Lauren Schuler and
Kathleen Kennedy?
No, Lauren Schuler and
Richard Donner.
Richard Donner, thank you.
Lethal Weapons.
Yes, and kind of learned under them about how to be a producer and how to do these creative things and stuff like that. Just some of the other random stuff. Bryan Singer had never heard of the X-Men when he was approached to direct. Apparently Michael Jackson lobbied very hard to play Professor X, which would have been the weirdest fucking movie of all time.
A terrible choice.
You were talking about like Steven Spielberg in a fucking closet working, like, that's those things, just there's some cognitive dissonance there. They don't really match. Like, well, early Marvel Studios, they were in like some rented office space, like above a Mercedes dealership, and for years just didn't have like a dedicated office space. And it wasn't until I think the success of the Avengers that they were like, okay, we'll put you on Disney's Burbank lot and we'll actually like give you some space to work in and like all that sort of stuff. There was one writer who was interviewed that in one of the, I think it was when they were above the Mercedes dealership, he said that like you could just tell that like people had worked here before. We weren't the first in the office. And when he went into his office, all the labels on like the phone were all of the people that were involved in the Ally McBeal show, which had wrapped like 8 years before that. Yeah. So just shit like that. But like, it's very interesting to hear about how much of a fluke the success of the MCU really is, and how big of a gamble they took on, like getting a loan from the bank. I don't know why my brain stopped working there for a minute, but getting a loan from the bank to do this, to start making movies. And like the collateral they put up was essentially the only, like their 10 most popular characters that they had left, that all their movie rights, that if they would have defaulted on this loan, then the bank would have just owned all of these characters and could have either held on to them or sold them off or done whatever the fuck they wanted with them. And like they made a huge gamble in making the first Iron Man movie and going with Iron Man and Hulk to be the first two movies that they had to pay off that loan, and it obviously worked. But so it's been very interesting. I'm excited to finish the rest of that, but that's pretty much what I've been listening to for that. So it's well worth checking out. Again, MCU: The Reign of Marvel Studios by Joanna Robinson.
I did see that. I'd never watched the show, is a little bit after my time, but they're making a Gargoyles live action movie.
I loved that show when I was a kid. It's pretty cool. Actually, Keith David is the voice of, we talked about him in the
main
last
character?
episode.
Yeah.
Childs, he's the voice of Goliath, the main leader gargoyle thing. But yeah, that's a great show. It has a fucking, his voice acting, amazing. Like it has like one of the hardest like intros and those old 90s TV shows. It's super good.
Nice. Yeah, I know a bunch of our mutual friends are excited about that, but that one missed me.
I don't know how excited I am for a live action reboot, honestly. Like,
really?
I think that could be super weird.
Yeah, it works as a cartoon, but as a live action.
They're basically like medieval Scottish gargoyles that at night
I thought they were Vikings or something in that first episode.
Maybe I can't remember what era they are, but they're not from the United. They're not in the United States ever. They're off in some other country, and but they come to life at night, and during the day they are their stone version of gargoyles, and then the bad guys destroy the castle and whatever, and then some rich dude from the United States is like, I want some authentic gargoyles on my skyscraper, and like has them all transported to the United States, and then for whatever reason I think it's because they're put back together or something, that they come to life again, and then they're fighting crime and doing cool shit in like New York City or whatever. So it's a good one.
Do you enjoy Legos? Do your kids enjoy Legos? Well, if so, be sure to check out Nebraska's largest Lego convention of the year, Brick Days, November 18th and 19th at the Lancaster Event Center in Lincoln, Nebraska. There will be custom creations from the Lincoln Omaha Lego User Group and Iowa Lego User Group. Vendors from across the Midwest will be selling Lego sets that are current, retired, and hard to find. Vendors will have minifigures for sale as well as loose Lego brick. Finally, something veterans may find appealing, they will have Brickmania as a vendor selling custom military minifigs, sets, and an assortment of Lego-sized weapons. Again, this is Brick Days, November 18th and 19th at the Lancaster Event Center in Lincoln, Nebraska. Times are Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Tickets are available for $10 for adults and $5 for kids 8 years and younger. Brick Days, November 18th and 19th. Go check it out and see what you can create.
Cool. Should we get into our big 3 Halloween movies then with the formation?
Yeah.
Fire away.
All right.
Fall in.
You fall out in that street or I'm gonna kick your ass right off this fucking planet.
Formation.
I thought you were going to do something spooky there.
Yeah,
I thought it was going to be.
there it is.
There we go. Yeah.
Spoke too soon.
Yeah, no. Again, this is our Halloween special. The topic, just so everybody's on the same page, favorite Halloween movies that either scared the shit out of you or that you just love watching during the Halloween season or just around this time. They don't have to necessarily scare you, but just they don't even have to be like Halloween themed. Just whatever like that kind of gets you in the mood for Halloween. My first one. Ooh.
Well, now I gotta pee.
All that rain.
Oh, okay. You have the bladder of a small child, so I thought you actually did have to go.
Old man.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So my number 3 is Children of the Corn. Mine. So preface: all of my movies I picked are movies that just scared the shit out of me.
Gotcha.
But yeah, Children of the Corn released in 1984, directed by Fritz Kirsch. It is advertised as Stephen King's Children of the Corn, but to this day, I still haven't watched this movie because it scared me that much. It just
I thought you meant you've never watched it.
I've
at
never
all.
seen
Like,
it.
What?
Yeah.
I'm so confused.
Couldn't get past the poster.
Yeah. I mean, it is creepy as shit, but
yeah. But yeah, it just scared me. It one of those movies that's just always been in my head. But basically, it's set in fictitious Gatlin, Nebraska. And an evil entity tempts and persuades local kids to kill the adults to ensure a local harvest.
yeah. All right. I don't remember if I've seen this or not. I'm pretty sure
definitively
I have,
not.
But
But yeah, it spawned a bunch of other sequels, and it was just always those movies. Like when I was in elementary school, this movie was still like popular around then, and everybody would talk about it like, "Oh, Children of the Corn," even up through like middle school.
well, I feel like even today, if you see like a really creepy looking child or something, you're like, oh, like Child of the Corn.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like cornfields, they still creep me out because of this.
Perhaps you should not live in the Midwest then.
Yeah, there's a few of those around here.
Yeah.
Apparently there's like you said, there's a ton of them. I didn't realize there was one as recently as 2020.
Oh, I didn't know there
So-
was
I didn't know
2020.
that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I even like researched a little bit today too. Like, wow. But primarily this one was filmed in Iowa and a little bit in California. But famously, Roger Ebert gave the film 1 out of 4 stars. Overall, the film just like did poorly. Like it just like was received poorly by the critics. But on people that enjoyed Halloween slasher films like this, it did well. But he gave it 1 out of 4 stars, saying, by the end of Children of the Corn, the only thing moving behind the rows is the audience fleeing to the exits.
Ouch.
Sick burn, Roger.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty good quote by him. But yeah, so that's my number 3.
So my boys and I came up with this activity that maybe COVID or the last couple years anyways, where we'd find like the dumbest possible movie that we could
Oh,
we could
yeah,
watch.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason there was like probably the top 10 that we found all had sharks in them. And
Oh,
one of
yeah.
them was Sharks of the Corn, which
Sharks
we
of
haven't
the
watched
Corn.
yet, but like I'm intrigued. So
I can only imagine.
yeah, but so I guess am I up? Is that we're just going around the room? Is that
Yeah.
what we're doing?
We'll go around.
Okay. Well, I don't necessarily have any kind of ranking order for mine. I just threw 3 of them together here. So, but in line with what you're saying, movies that just scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. I picked 1987's The Gate, which stars child actor Steven Dorff. Yes,
Oh,
from
Steven Dorff.
Blade. Yes, he's
Okay.
Frost from Blade. Terrible. And for whatever reason, was hanging out with Limp Bizkit a lot back in the early 2000s. I don't know why he was in all their videos, but
Break stuff.
yeah. So I didn't realize that he was in the movie until I was doing research today to look it up. But yeah, so you can guess it's probably pretty awful. But basically, the story is just 2 young boys accidentally release this like portal to hell in their backyard,
Okay.
and it released this horde of like nasty tiny little demons. And then they get into this classic battle of good versus evil, trying to overcome this just nightmarish hell that is trying to take over the earth. And I don't think I've watched it since then. I might have watched it once, and I don't know what it was that scared me in this movie. I think there was a scene with a moth or something. And
Okay.
there's a couple times throughout my childhood that it kind of sounds like the plagues, but we would have like moths that would just like surround the entire outside of a building. This happened like 2 or
God.
3 times throughout my life, but like every house in the neighborhood would have just thousands of moths right
Holy
underneath
crap.
the awning of your house.
That sounds terrible.
I don't know what caused it. I don't know what the deal was, but it happened multiple times. And I think one of the times was like around the late 80s when this movie came out. And for whatever reason, that scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
But I think I rewatched it one time after that. I'm like, this is dumb and not scary at all. So I don't know what it was, but for some reason, The Gate always just freaked me the hell out.
Yeah, that's what I found with like movies that scared me as a kid. Like I go back and watch it now, and I'm just like, this is stupid.
Yeah, whatever.
Dumb. Like it wouldn't scare me now. Like maybe like with like movie that would like totally still scare me today would be like Paranormal Activity, because that was just it's a creepy movie all the way through, and I'm a, as we've already discussed, I like the paranormal. I'm a big believer in the paranormal and all the things that happen on the other side. So Poltergeist just scared the shit out of me. But
Yeah,
anyway.
that's a good movie too, though. There's a lot of fucked up shit happened on that movie.
Yeah.
So, Duncan, I guess you're up.
Mine's slightly different than those two. My number 3 pick is Beetlejuice from 1988.
Nice. Good pick.
Directed by Tim Burton, starring none other than Michael Keaton, Gina Davis, Alec Baldwin, Winona Ryder.
He doesn't get any creepy sound effects for his.
Just
his pick?
fucking mother. Good looking out, B.
Here, I'll
Call
give
me
you another one.
Snake. I'm Snake.
You get 2.
Oh, sorry. Good looking out, Snake.
Thanks. You're welcome.
Why
Sorry,
you
I
half chub,
got-
Snake?
I got so into like your pick that I totally spaced. Yeah.
Beetlejuice, absolutely classic. Like Michael Keaton is incredible in that movie.
He is great.
It's such a
but
good movie.
Basically,
too.
if you haven't seen it, you should go see it. But this young couple, or they're supposed to be young, but they seem like they're in their 40s.
Hateful.
Sorry.
Wow.
This young couple like dies in a car crash, and then they don't realize they're dead right away, but they end up in this like afterlife sort of
Lobby.
lobby
Like DMV.
lobby for the afterlife, and they discovered that the afterlife is basically this like terrible bureaucracy of paperwork and healthcare and DMV combination sort of shit. But they a family of like Californians moves into their house, and they're trying to spook them out of the house because they just want to live in peace, and they have to remain in their house for like 125 years, like haunt it for that long before they can move on to the afterlife officially. And so they're trying to scare them out of the house so they can just have a peaceful time there before they move on to the afterlife. And in their frustration, they decide to hire a professional to scare them out of the house, and they go with Beetlejuice, who immediately makes them regret that and wreaks a bunch of havoc. But he can be summoned by saying his name 3 times, and his goal is to basically escape essentially into the real world and be able to do whatever he wants. Young Winona Ryder's in it. She plays like a 16-year-old little goth girl who moves into the house and befriends the ghosts, and for whatever reason can see them when nobody else can. But apparently this is Keaton's favorite film that he's made, like of his own
Nice.
filmography. And then he also like ad-libbed like 90% of his lines. Like the whole movie is just him improvising.
It's a great, and it's incredible.
He has some fucking hilarious lines. Like when they hire him, they ask him, like, what are your qualifications? And he's like, goes from this like gruff kind of like, evil kind of voice or whatever he's doing to like, well, I studied at the Harvard Business School, and I attended Juilliard where I blah, blah, blah. And he's like, and then he eventually is like, and I've seen The Exorcist 167 times, and it just keeps getting funnier. Shit like that. Like, but he's great in it. This is a year before Batman '89 came out. Like, so he went straight from this to that.
Not to get off topic, but since you brought up Batman '89, I don't know how I stumbled upon it the other day, but I saw an interview where Keaton was on Letterman, and they're talking about the Batman '89, and Letterman asked a question about like, how was Bruce Wayne's parents killed, and then you find out later it's the Joker, and then Keaton just like dives right into it and is like, oh yeah, they set it up, but like you don't know until like way later in the movie that the Joker is the one that killed my parents, and then he's like, oh shit, I don't think I'm supposed to talk about this. It's just like
they clearly didn't have the same sort of leash on the actors that
no,
they do
there was
today.
no like Marvel Disney death contracts, like NDA kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it was hilarious how he just stopped dead in his tracks, and he's like, I think I just gave away the whole plot of the movie. And
But
like,
I saw a
fucked
fun
up.
fact when I was looking at it. Apparently, Beetlejuice was the first DVD that was sent out by Netflix in 1998.
no shit.
I didn't realize DVDs or Netflix were that fucking old. Honestly,
I
would have thought,
knew that.
I would have thought
I knew
DVDs
that.
started in the 2000s, but
No.
98.
No, I remember.
97 actually was the first time. So.
My roommate and I bought a DVD player together when that technology first
Nice.
came out, and our very first one was, and back then there was like 4 movies you could buy, and our first one that we bought was Twister.
I just feel like I had
So-
VHS tapes like way later
I
into
still
my
did too, yeah.
childhood than
Yeah.
DVDs. So maybe it was just a function of like not wanting to get the new technology right away.
Right.
But
My first DVD movie was The Goonies.
Wow. Yeah.
And I
Nice.
used it to showcase why we need to switch to DVDs, because I could forward and reverse,
Oh, yeah.
and I could
Yeah.
pause it.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
could like
Chapters.
I remember
Yeah.
the first, like one of the first questions I had about DVDs was like, so how do I rewind it? Like when we like return this to Blockbuster, like do we have to get a
You don't-
DVD rewinder
Yeah.
too?
It
Like
looks like a car.
like nope, it's good.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
like,
I wonder how many people fell for a
crazy.
scam like that. If like,
a rewinder
Yeah,
machine.
selling a DVD rewinder.
wow.
Bet more than one.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my pick. I love that
That's
movie.
a damn good one.
One of my favorite quotes of any movie is in that, and it's actually in another song, or in a song, but it's Winona Ryder's character, and she's like, "My whole life is a dark room, one big dark room," and the band AFI actually put that into one of their songs, and I always thought that I love that little line. Pretty cool.
Nice. Well, Jimmy, you gonna take us around again?
Okay, yeah. So my next one is Friday the 13th, Parts 8, and Jason Goes to Hell.
We did briefly talk about number 8, which is Jason Takes Manhattan, right?
Yes.
Did we talk about that
yep.
last week?
Yes, we did, yeah. See, that movie came out right when I was like of that age. Like
Yeah.
I was maybe around 9 or 10 when these came out. See, so this was what, 89? 89 was number 8, so I was 4.
God, that was 89.
Yeah, and then Goes to Hell was 93. Yeah,
I don't
so
know that
I was.
I've ever seen that one.
I don't think I've seen Goes to Hell.
I haven't actually seen them either. I'm working through the whole catalog.
Sorry, what?
Wait a minute, you picked your number 2 is 8 through 13 that you haven't seen?
Because they scared the shit out of me, and that's what I love about them. And
How'd they scare you if you never saw them?
Okay, let me rephrase. I haven't seen them as an older adult.
Okay. So you have seen them.
Yes, I've seen them, and they scared the shit out of me. And,
Now I got you.
yeah, and I
Okay.
blacked out most of it because they were so scary.
Blacked out.
Yeah. But that really just the whole Friday the 13th series of movies is really what I love. And that's why it's like as a solid number 2. Because the original came out in 1980. Number 1 was 1980. And then it just went from there. 12 movies altogether in the series.
Are you counting Freddy versus Jason
Yes.
as one of those?
Yes, I
Okay.
am. Yes.
All right.
Let's see. The most recent is 2009's, which is just simply Friday the 13th. And then there's also, as we just mentioned, Freddy versus Jason. But one of my favorites is we kind of touched on it too last week, which was Jason Goes to Space and Jason X.
Yeah.
Jason 10. Just because it was so campy and funny. But my mom, she's the one that got me to watch Freddy versus Jason. And I remember there's a scene where there's this naked chick because of gratuitous nudity.
Absolutely.
She's just
Must
like on
have.
this stretcher, and you know,
Oh yeah.
yeah, her tatas are just jiggling, and I was maybe like 17, 18 at that time. I'm like, that's some good spank bank material right
Let
there.
me hit pause and write down the timestamp here.
Yeah.
So I was never a huge fan of like really any slasher movies or anything like that.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one, I would always say I like the Freddy movies better than the Jason movies. But I remember going to Freddy versus Jason in the theater, and I'm like, by the end of that movie, you're rooting for Jason because Freddy's such a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I never realized how big of a hit the like blood spurting prosthetic industry had to take when they kind of slowed down making those movies, because it's just absolutely ridiculous.
Oh,
like everybody just like everywhere.
Freddy vs. Jason is just a ridiculous movie in premise. Anyway,
It is, but
That is true.
and then like the battle that they do is just crazy. And that's why it's up there for me.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
What's your number 2?
Oh.
Snake.
Well, since you asked, again, I'm not a big fan of the horror movies, but as far as Halloween type stuff goes, I picked also from 1987, The Monster Squad. Have you guys seen this?
Monster
Either of you
Squad?
seen
No,
this?
I've never
no?
heard of it. No.
Oh, okay. Well, I think a fair description would be it's like kind of like Goonies, but with all the classic monster movies thrown in.
Oh, like Frankenstein.
Yeah, so basically Dracula moves into this small suburban town, and with him he brings the Mummy, the Wolfman, Frankenstein's monster.
Thank you for
Is there another one in there?
referring to him as Frankenstein's monster.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Excuse me. Sorry.
But they're just like this club of like, I don't know, 12, 13-year-olds or something like that hang out and talk about monster movies and stuff like that. And like, I remember those books when I was in elementary school. I used to check those books out all the time that went over all the classic horror movies. I guess monster movies probably a better name for them, but like that was they met in their clubhouse and they talked about, how would you kill the werewolf or whatever, and then they actually have to do it. Creature from the Black Lagoon was also one of the characters in it, and there's just it's not a great movie by any means, but like I was that age at the time that the movie came out, so like I was like right in line with this. And the best, one of the best lines in all of any kind of horror movie is Wolfman tries to attack this kid and he says, "What do I do?" And he says, "Kick him in the nards." So he kicks him in the nards, and the Wolfman like collapses. He's like, "Whoa, Wolfman's got nards!" Why I committed that to memory, I don't know.
Bring back
but,
nards, man.
yeah.
That's
Nards.
that
was
shit
funny.
never
Nards.
went away.
Nobody
Yeah.
says nards
I'm gonna start
anymore.
saying that.
Oh, that was definitely a late '90s phrase too.
But yeah,
like,
it's
my
great.
Nards. Yeah.
I think there's another scene where I can't remember what they call him throughout the whole movie, but he's kind of the fat kid, and he hates being called this whatever fat kid nickname that they give him. And one of the bullies, the town bullies, is over there cowering in the corner when the creature from the Black Lagoon pops up from the sewer, and this kid fucking just takes him out. And then they're like, "Oh, good job, fat shit," or whatever his name was. And he's like, "My name is Horace." Oh, I was like, this is a great scene.
Nice.
But,
That's
yeah.
not a great name, but
So I don't know why I don't remember what his nickname was,
Yeah.
and it wasn't listed on the cast
yeah, I was
list
just trying
either.
to look it up. So
There's really nobody famous in this.
it just says he's best remembered for his role as Horace the Fat Kid.
Yeah. Okay. So it's fake. Maybe it was just fat shit. I don't know what they called him, but yeah. So Monster Squad. That's my second pick.
Nice.
So Duncan. what you got?
My number 2, and this is tough. This might have been my number 1. Still could be. I don't know. But my number 2 is Shaun of the Dead.
Oh
from
yeah, that's a good
2004.
one. It's good.
Yes.
Directed by Edgar Wright and written by and starring Simon Pegg. Also stars Nick Frost. This is the first of what they refer to as the Cornetto trilogy, which also includes Hot Fuzz and World's End.
Wait, so are those like all in the same universe?
No, they're just kind of like spiritual sequels.
Okay, yeah,
like
because
they have
it'd
the
be
same
hard
sort of
for
It's
yeah,
the
Hot
same
Fuzz.
same two main actors. And all.
same
Okay, I
same
gotcha,
actor
gotcha.
director combo.
Yeah, like I
and-
thought like I missed like a connection somewhere.
No,
but
like I
I don't
said,
think
kind of
so.
like spiritual sequels where they're just the same vibes. But Edgar Wright, he's done a bunch of good stuff. Scott Pilgrim versus the World, Baby Driver.
Didn't he do the first Ant-Man?
Yes, he did the first Ant-Man. He did. God, what else? I thought there was one more that I remembered him doing, but I guess he did. I don't know. Anyway,
I feel like he did an episode of The Mandalorian too.
Maybe he did. Yeah, I don't know.
I think
I'm
he
just
did.
looking at movies here, but anyway, Shaun of the Dead, absolutely hilarious. It came out relatively close to the Dawn of the Dead remake too, and so you might be forgiven for thinking that it's like a scary movie type funny zombie movie that is like it's obviously a parody of zombie movies, but it's not like the same as a scary movie where they're just
it's not a parody. It's more of a like this. The apocalypse happens, but we're gonna have fun with it.
Right,
At the same time.
we're gonna do it in a fun way.
Yeah.
But the whole like all the dialogue and the way that like they repeat these lines like pre-apocalypse and then post-apocalypse, and they have like totally different meanings. And like he works at like some fucking Best Buy type store, like electronics store, more like a Radio Shack than a Best Buy. But and Sean does, and there's he repeatedly is being told he had a pen explode in his pocket, and so there's red on his white shirt, and everybody just keeps going, "You've got red on you," and he's just like, I know. And then like the first time that they kill a zombie, they like bash its fucking brains in, and he's just covered in blood, and then they cut back to them just sitting in their apartment, and he's just like the Arnold PTSD stare, just like, and his buddy's just sitting there just eating an ice cream cone, and he looks over at him, he's like, "You've got red on you," and just like they do a ton of like that sort of shit. They have this great zombie killing scene in a bar where the power is like on and off, and it comes back on, and the jukebox kicks on, and it's "Don't Stop Me Now" by Queen.
Yep. Yes,
and they beat the shit out of the zombie.
It's just a montage of murdering,
and it's in beat to the beat of "Don't Stop Me Now." So even like one of the characters runs to the back to try and turn off the breakers, and as he's like flicking all the switches like frantically, it's like click, 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 just like the song would be. And so if you haven't seen that, like I said, 2004, it's an amazing zombie movie, and it's not just like, there's some heart to it too, just like Edgar Wright usually does in most of his movies. Some really like, hard touching scenes with his family and like people dying because they're zombies. It's a zombie movie and stuff like that, but it's also just hilarious as fuck. So that's my number 2.
And the ending is a all-time bro dude
absolutely
hit there. Yeah. So
something with that movie too is the opening scene is a one shot.
Yeah. Yes.
And then the end scene is a one shot recreation of the opening scene too.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool. And I actually saw recently a little like TikTok interview thing about that. And the director, he was talking about like just how difficult it was to reshoot that scene both times. Yeah. With the differences, one being where like the world is falling apart, and the other, the world is back together. But like he still had like, and then Simon Pegg is talking too, and he's like, "Yeah, I still had to like trip in this spot, and I had to do all this, that, and furthermore."
I like because it's kind of like so the first time he does it, he's like woke up from a night of drinking, and he's like going down to the shop to get a Coke and like whatever, an ice cream cone for his drunk roommate too, and it's kind of like he's just a zombie, like he's the zombie, he's just kind of shuffling through life and not paying attention and just on automatic, goes in there and does his thing, and then goes back to his, and then the apocalypse happens, and it's the same thing. He wakes up and wants a drink and gets an ice cream for his buddy, and he like you said, it's a one shot, and he's walking through, and he has to trip over the same car, and there's even the same jogger that runs by, but this time they're like in a dead sprint running because they're clearly running from a zombie instead of like just on a
like somebody on fire, and they're like running in the background or something.
I don't know if they are in that part, but he goes to like, he gets in the shop and he like is not paying attention, and he opens one of the like refrigerator cases, and it's just got bloody handprints on it, and he's just so aloof, not paying attention, picks at his drink, goes over, closes the door, and sees the same like person who looked like they were like dressed for homecoming
Right.
is like standing behind him, but this time they're clearly a zombie and like missing an arm and like kind of shuffling towards him. And just like in the first time, the clerk wasn't there, so he just leaves his money on the counter and hollers to him because they clearly know each other, and he's in there all the time. And then same thing, the clerk's not there, but it's because he's like on the ground eating someone behind the counter sort of thing, and so he just leaves his money and walks off. And there's a kid with a soccer ball that kicks a soccer ball at him and hits him, and he looks, and this time it's like the kid's a zombie and shit like that, but he just never makes the connection until they find the zombie for the first time in their backyard. But yeah, super super great movie, really really fun. So
I have to correct myself because Edgar Wright, I think, was originally supposed to direct Ant-Man, but then Peyton Reed took over for him. And
That's right, yeah.
Peyton Reed directed an episode of Mandalorian, so I apologize.
that's right.
But favorite quote from that movie is still, "Go to the Winchester till this whole thing blows over."
Yep. And they had to name that bar the Winchester just to have a reason to have a gun in there, like because they end up getting a shotgun down from the which is funny because as soon as they get the shotgun down in that scene, he immediately like hits somebody with it, and they're like, "What are you doing? It's a shotgun." He's like, "It's a shot. It's not real. It's a shotgun in a bar. It's called the Winch. It's just for display." And then he like blows somebody away.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit!
This is actually real.
Yeah. So,
All right. Cool.
we have
Back to me then.
back to you. Do you have an honorable mention?
I have several honorable mentions actually because yes, this is, like I said, this is one of my favorite seasons. So I've got a lot of like a big gambit here. But just real quick, we're gonna go shotgun blast here. So Jeepers Creepers, Child's Play, 1988, Scream, 1996. The Blair Witch Project absolutely scared the shit out of me when that came out. I remember watching that with my cousin, and that scene where like they came up and they shake the tent. Oh my god! Like that still like gives me shivers every now and again thinking about that. Like, so that's probably like why I don't like camping. My wife, I asked her about this. Hers are the Evil Dead movies and the series. One that scared the crap out of her was Fire in the Sky in 1993.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's where
that
dude
was pretty creepy.
Yeah, dude gets abducted in the White Mountains of Arizona. But yeah, that's my honorable mentions.
Nice. I for my last two picks here, I kind of went to like my Halloween tradition, and
Yeah.
my boys kind of started this one. The it's not a movie, it's not a show, it's a SNL skit. David Pumpkins. We watched that over and
Tom
over with
Hanks,
Tom
right?
Hanks.
Yeah.
And it's one of the funniest sketches he's ever done, I think.
Yeah.
It's absolutely hilarious. It's like 2.5 minutes long. So if you're not familiar,
Yeah, I've never seen it. You have to send it to
you
me.
gotta watch David Pumpkins.
Is it in line with Sweaty Balls?
No, it's extremely stupid, and it's the scene is basically the guy that used to be on the AT&T commercials and the lady who was in the female Ghostbusters. Maybe there was more than one from Saturday Night Live. I don't know her name. Kate McKinnon, I think, is her name.
Oh yeah.
They're a couple at this haunted house ride called the 100 Floors of Fright, and it's just an elevator, and they go to a different floor, and then something spooky happens, and David Pumpkins is there. So, but it's hilarious. It's fantastic. I love it. That's my honorable mention. Duncan.
I've got two honorable mentions here. The both movies that I watched as a kid a bunch. The first one I'll go with is Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, which is an animated movie.
Oh, the animated one. Gotcha.
It's the best of the post, like kind of the resurgence of Scooby-Doo movies. This was like the first animated one in a long series of ones, but basically it's like kind of shows the cast of Mystery Inc. and everything moved on, and like Daphne has a TV show now, and Fred is like works as a producer like on her show, and Scooby and Shaggy are like essentially Border Patrol or TSA agents, and he's the sniffing dog. He sniffs for contraband.
The drug dog.
And the only
Because he is a drug dog.
The only contraband exactly, Shaggy has a drug dog, but the only contraband that they ever sniff out is food, and then they just eat it all and get whatever
got the munchies.
because they're fucking high as fuck. But and then Velma owns a bookstore and sells mystery books and whatever. But Daphne's birthday's coming up, so Fred decides to get the gang back together to go on a trip and do this documentary thing that she's doing for her show on like real hauntings, because every time in the Scooby-Doo movies or in the Scooby-Doo show it's a dude in a mask,
Right.
And this is like their first time that it's not a dude in a mask, it's like real supernatural shit. And they go to this island in the bayou of Louisiana, or this little like bayou island. It's not really an island, but it's isolated in the swamp essentially, and they end up staying on this island with these people who they say it's haunted by zombies, and sure enough, they start seeing ghosts and zombies and unexplainable things happening. But it turns out that the zombies are actually the good guys, and they're trying to warn Mystery Inc. that the people they're staying with are like these like succubus type creatures that kill they're basically like sirens. They lure people to their abode, and then they kill them and suck their life force, and they end up buried somewhere in the swamp. And all these zombies are like haunting the swamp, trying to warn Scooby and Shaggy and the gang to like get the fuck out of there. And so they end up taking down the bad guys. But there's a song in this which is like the typical kind of Scooby-Doo, oh no, the bad guys trying to get us run sort of thing, where they have a fun little chase scene, but it's called It's Terror Time Again. Fucking banger. It's like, to this day, I love this. Absolutely love this song. Could listen to it all the time during Halloween. So that's my first honorable mention. My other one is a movie from 2002 called Eight-Legged Freaks.
Oh,
You guys
yeah.
ever seen
Yeah,
this?
I know that one, yeah.
David Arquette.
I know. I can see the movie
Dougie Doug
poster
and
in my.
Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, girl.
It's okay for me to enjoy this Scarlett Johansson because I was like the same age as her at the time. She was a couple years older than me, but she's like 16 or 17 in it.
Oh,
but
way to
I
kill
remember
it for me.
when I was a
Thanks.
kid, there's a scene in there where she like takes a shower and then she gets out of the shower and she's like she's just wearing a towel. And I just remember like 12-year-old me being like, that's the most attractive woman I've ever seen in my entire life. And then like when she got cast as or when I saw her in Avengers, or what is Iron Man 2 as
God, yeah.
Scarlet Witch, I was like, that's the girl from
Black Widow.
Eight-Legged
Black
Freaks.
Widow. Yeah.
What did I say? Scarlet
Scarlet,
Witch.
yeah.
Black Widow. And I was like, that's the girl from Eight-Legged Freaks. Oh my God. Like, I remember having a huge, but super, super fun movie. And it's basically about giant spiders that take over this city or attack this city, and they gotta survive. Super, super basic, but very fun. So that's my honorable mentions.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. Well, it's time for the number one. My number one, we already kind of hinted at it. Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah. Loved it.
Which one? The first one?
The first one. Yeah.
Okay.
The first one is really the best one when you look at them all. But it terrified me. I couldn't sleep after watching it. Albeit it came out a year before I was born, but like once I did watch it with the older kids, because the older kids always watched all the scary stuff. But it really scared the crap out of me. I couldn't sleep. I literally thought he was going to come out of in my nightmares after me.
The concept of Freddy Krueger, man, is hard to beat in
pretty
terms of
terrifying.
like really freaking you out. Like, if I go to sleep, this motherfucker's gonna kill me.
And then
like
he primarily preys on kids.
kids,
and,
yeah,
teens
like a
and
very
stuff.
very young Johnny Depp.
Yeah. So that's part of the next thing here. It's got Robert Englund plays as Freddy. You got Johnny Depp. It's his film debut.
Yep.
First film.
No kidding.
Yep.
And he just gets fucking run through in the bed.
Yeah.
There's a fountain of blood. His fucking whole room covers in
I
blood.
thought
yeah.
he isn't the one that gets like the marionette with his veins. Like in his
think
dreams.
so. I thought
they-
he was
like-
laying in a bed and the claws come up underneath of him and through his. But I could be misremembering the kill. So
Yeah. I pretty sure it's that one.
Is it that one? I can't
Yeah.
remember.
I don't know. I have to rewatch it. I watched most recently. I watched it last year, so I'll have to rewatch
Wait a minute.
it.
I'm thinking of Dream Warriors. He was only in the first
yeah,
one.
no,
right?
it says I just googled it. Glenn falls asleep on the bed and his body is sucked into
Yeah.
the bed, leaving a gaping hole, and then
Yeah,
blood
yeah.
erupts from the hole and
Yeah.
covers the whole room.
I watched a documentary about that scene, and like they had to reshoot it a couple of times, and it was just a mess. Just
Oh, I can imagine.
That'd
and
be a
then,
hell of a cleanup.
yeah.
a
Then
lot of Caro syrup and red dye.
then the bathroom or the bathtub scene where like she gets like sucked in.
Yeah.
Like they showed like how they did like that. Like there was like a secret compartment under the bathtub, and this dude like had to like sit in that while she's on top of him. It was weird. But
Is it the first one too where they like have Freddy's face like coming out of the wall with like his
yeah, I believe so.
where
It's like
It's
stretching.
like rubber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds
That's
right.
so creepy.
Yeah, directed by Wes Craven. It's aged better than most of the other slasher films. But yeah, just it's haunting, it's scary, it's creepy, it's gory, it's got everything you want out of a slasher film. The part that it like just continues to get in my head is like the 1, 2, it's coming for you.
Yep.
3, 4 as the syrup lock the door. Yeah. So yeah, but a couple of interesting facts here. Well, real quick, I'll recap it here. Freddy Krueger, the little bit backstory about him, why he's so creepy, is it gets explained that Freddy Krueger was an insane child murderer who killed 20 children, but was released on a technicality and then burned alive by the victims' parents who lived on their street, seeking vigilante justice.
Fucking good parents right there. Good work.
Yeah, kill that fucker. And then one of the main characters, Nancy, who is played by Heather Langenkamp, she realizes that Krueger is now a vengeful ghost and is killing her and her friends out of revenge to satiate his psychopathic needs. So yeah, that's Freddy Krueger in Nightmare on Elm Street.
One of the most iconic looks and
yeah.
like slasher killers of all time.
Yeah,
So,
I mean it's been parodied, referenced in pop culture. It is a pop culture icon.
I fucking love the Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
Scary Terry.
Yes.
I know I've oh yeah.
Oh, it's so good. And I just like that they like kept that a running gag throughout the series too.
Yeah.
Like he comes back. But it is so important to America that in 2021, A Nightmare on Elm Street was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant.
Nice.
Yeah.
Take
Definitely-
that, Jason.
Yeah, definitely a good one.
Yeah. So those are my 3 with Nightmare on Elm Street on top.
Nice. All right. Good enough. I guess it's my turn.
Yeah, I was gonna say we aren't done. You got one.
Yeah. So again, I'm not really into the slasher flicks or anything like this. This is solely kind of my Halloween tradition. These last 2 that I'm mentioning here, but 2018, my middle kid let me make his costume for him, and I made him Cable from Deadpool 2.
Nice.
Okay.
Which started a tradition. Yes, I also went as Deadpool that year, and that started a tradition of me watching the Deadpool movies after we get home from trick or treating.
And of you sending me a bunch of drunk.
And
Deadpool
after that
until-
tradition started, I, for whatever reason, decided to dig up all the costumes that I didn't wear, but as Deadpool, and then send them to Duncan.
Yeah.
I don't know why this happened, but
Yeah, there was like a
it's
weird bikini camel toe one that I I might
Yeah,
have saved,
probably.
so, yeah.
Probably. In fact, most of them I have zero memory until I wake up the next day and see my camera roll. Like, oh,
Well, I'm glad you haven't done that to me yet.
Yeah,
We should probably get you on the chat.
Fact, I don't know that. I think you might be the only one I've ever
It's
done
what makes it
that
really weird. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
It's
just
weird.
me.
You
Yeah,
started
what are you
it.
trying to tell him?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
It's
know.
all right, I love you too.
Yeah, it's good to be loved. So it's I don't know. I don't. Did I do it last year? I don't think I did.
No, I don't think you did.
Actually, I
last
think I did. Because I was Fat Thor last year.
year. Oh,
So I think I put the whole get up
yep,
on it.
I think you did. Now that you say that,
I think I've done it every year since, to be honest with you. So
I'm desensitized to it at this point.
yeah, it happens. I actually considered coming over here with that on too, but it was a quick change. So but yeah.
You're a good snake.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
That's your number one.
Yeah, that's my one. Cable or Deadpool 1 and 2. I don't
Sure.
really. It's
Yeah.
2. I let the kids watch some of. 1, I thought about it, and then we got like 30 seconds in. I'm like, yeah, never mind. We're not doing this.
is
Yeah, the whole baby dick.
Yeah. But yeah, well, I forgot like the sex scene that where
Oh,
they
yeah.
cover the calendar.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like I forgot about that. I'm like, yeah, that's probably a little much.
Yeah.
There's some things I don't want to talk about right there.
Questions I'm not prepared to answer. My number one here is 1994's The Crow.
Fantastic. I didn't even think about that, but you are right. That is excellent.
Yes.
Yeah. Leave it to me to pick a comic
Comic
book
book
superhero movie.
movie.
Yeah. Also directed by Wes
or-
Craven.
Nope. Directed by Alex Proyas.
Oh.
And
Wes didn't Wes Craven do a Crow?
I don't know.
You didn't do that one.
Didn't do
Oh.
this one. This is the one that starred Brandon Lee, who
Yeah.
died tragically during
Died in
the filming
Yeah.
of the movie. He was killed by a prop bullet that wasn't properly loaded. It still had a wadding in it, and it was supposed to be a blank, and it had a wadding in it, and he was shot pretty much point blank and died. And they were not anywhere close to done with the movie and had to use a lot of extra footage. They had to delay the movie. They even did some very early digital face replacement in a couple of scenes.
Interesting.
But they used a stand-in primarily, who, fun fact, was one of them was Chad Stahelski, who was, he did the fight choreography for Captain America Winter Soldier.
Oh, nice.
And then he's also the same guy behind all the John Wick movies. He's the
shit.
director of all those. So he was one of the stand-ins for Brandon Lee after he died. But
Nice.
if you're not familiar, it's based on a comic book by James O'Barr. I've never read the comic book, but the concept of the Crow is basically this crow or this supernatural force brings back those who have been killed in particularly tragic or terrible ways that maybe give you some need for revenge, brings you back, gives you superpowers, and lets you kind of get some closure, however you need to do that in your murderous ways before you go back to being dead. And in the comic books, as I understand it, there are multiple crows. This one is Eric Draven, as I said, played by Brandon Lee, and he's basically a musician who was going to get married to his fiancée on Halloween. The night before Halloween, this takes place in Detroit, is Devil's Night, which is essentially a night for mass vandalism and arson.
Yeah, it's like precursor to the Purge, I think.
But it's
Like,
also
something like that.
apparently like a pretty real thing in Detroit. Like this happens or did happen for a period of time in like the 90s and 2000s where people would try and burn the fucking city down and vandalize and destroy shit.
So like if the Pistons won a championship or something.
Yeah, something like similar to that. But that it prompted a response night called like Angels Night, where people try and do good deeds and shit like that. But in the movie, this gang of hooligans that works for a kind of, I guess, gang boss, he has them out doing their arson and mayhem thing, and they end up breaking into Eric's apartment with his fiance. They kill her and they do some terrible sexual things to her, and they throw him out the top story of this building, which is a very long fall, and he dies, and she's in surgery for 30 hours and before dying. And then a year later, he's resurrected by the Crow, and he goes on this kind of vengeance mission and tracks down each one of the members of the gang individually and kills them all in pretty spectacular fashion. It's not like a like super gory or necessarily scary movie in any way. It's pretty much just an action fantasy type thriller movie. But I don't know why I have such a special place for this movie. Like I really, really enjoy this.
The soundtrack is
great. Ernie Hudson is also in
Yes.
it. He just obviously
he was like a cop that investigated the deaths of the Crow and his girlfriend.
He was formerly a detective at some point. He gets dropped down to being a beat cop because he dug too far into a case, and so he's just kind of like doesn't give a fuck cop. But what we find out later is that he sat with Shelley, Eric's fiance, for the entire 30 hours that she was in surgery and was there when she died so she wouldn't be alone. And so Eric kind of befriends him while he's on his mission because he appreciates what he did. And there's this cool moment where when Eric finds out about that, there's no real clear delineation of like what the Crow's powers really are or how powerful he really is. Some of the things we see him do is like he's pretty much invulnerable. He can get shot point blank and he just heals right up. He seems to be able to kind of disappear and appear at will, or has like very good stealth ability in some way, shape, or form. And then he also has the power to either give or receive like memories. So he is kind of realizes this in the scene that he spent all this time with his dying fiance. So he like touches his head, and then he realizes he's like absorbing all of this pain and suffering that she went through, and it kind of takes him back. And then in the end of the movie, he ends up using that same ability against the bad guy and sharing all of that pain with him. And
it's kind of like the Ghost Rider penance there.
Kind of like that, except that he can
flipped it a little bit.
Yeah, he can absorb that pain, but he can also use it. There's I still say this to my kids sometimes. There's like a young kid who was friends, whose mom is like a piece of shit drug addict, and she kind of is like a street kid, and she's like befriended by Eric and his fiance before they die, and she kind of hangs out with them every once in a while, and they just take care of her a little bit. But then when they die, she's really, kind of lost to the street and doesn't have much. And so when Eric comes back, she's very excited to see him, and before she knows he's back, he like sees her about to get hit by a car skateboarding in the rain, and he like rescues her, and she's like, thanks, whatever, just I'm too cool for this sort of shit. And as she's like walking away, she's like, I wish it would stop raining. It's always raining here. And he just goes, it can't rain all the time. And that was like what he always said to her when when she was in a bad mood and whatever. And you see that in some of the flashbacks and stuff. And then she's like, Eric, and turns around and he's gone. And so I still say that shit, like, like you're bummed out. No, can't rain all the time, like to people. So, great movie though. Yeah. Well worth a watch. It's really a shame that Brandon Lee died.
I agree.
During it. If I didn't mention it, Bruce Lee's son, right. Brandon Lee, Bruce Lee, who was also tragically went too soon. But
there was some conspiracy behind that too.
There's conspiracy that he was killed by the Chinese mob because he was teaching what they perceive to be like martial arts secrets that shouldn't leave like China, or shouldn't
his
be
dad's
taught to,
kung fu, which is the same conspiracy that
right, and they
his dad's death.
Right, they argue that Brandon was killed for the same reasons. So but all in all, it seems to be just a terrible stunt tragedy. Right. But Alec Baldwin just did the same thing to somebody recently. So At
that
this
wasn't
point in
a-
time, we really don't need to
that
have
wasn't a
real
blank. That
real
was a-
guns on
no.
set. They've done it in the John Wick movies. They're all just CGI muzzle flashes. So,
Which kind of looked bad unless you did the dragon's breath, then it looks fine.
I don't know. I think they look fine. But anyway, that's my number one. It's
Nice.
super good, worth a watch for sure.
If I remember right, the sequel was dog shit though.
I have never watched any of the other ones because I'm terrified to ruin my
Yeah,
feelings
good
about the
memories
original.
of the original. Yeah, that's fair.
Probably a good idea.
They made more than one sequel?
There are 3 total
No
movies.
shit.
Yeah.
Probably direct to DVD or whatever.
Correct.
Yeah. I know one of them was like City of Angels or something like that, but I don't remember the names of the other ones.
I don't know exactly what order they are, but
City of Angels with Nick Cage.
No. It's
Crow,
the Crow City of Angels.
Oh, the Crow.
Yeah.
Okay, I
and
was
then the
like,
Crow Salvation. And maybe
Did they reboot it? Maybe?
there might be even more of them. Honestly,
Oh God.
there's there are 4 total movies: the Crow City of Angels, the Crow Salvation, the Crow Wicked Prayer, and then allegedly there's one coming out in 2024. Apparently there was also a TV show from 98 to 99 called The Crow Stairway to Heaven. Gonna have to dig that up. Rob Zombie was attached to make a directorial
think I
debut
knew
with
that.
The Crow 2037.
The Crow in
Rapper
the future.
DMX had been in discussions about a 4th Crow movie called The Crow Lazarus, about a rapper who chooses to leave the music scene.
X
and gets
gonna give it to
killed.
you.
X gonna give it to you. He left rap famously to be a preacher.
Oh, and got really fat.
Yeah. But, I wanted to see, where's the cast of this one? I thought Edward Furlong was in one of them, but doesn't look like it. Kirsten Dunst is in one of the sequels. Walton Goggins
No shit.
is in one of them. This is all like early days.
Oh, Kirsten Dunst was like my
those people.
original like teenage crush.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
not a
because
bad.
she's like 2 years older than me, and I first saw her in Jumanji, and I was like, I love this woman.
Jumanji. Okay, I was curious what the movie was gonna be.
Yeah.
I
forgot she's in there.
I was hoping you weren't gonna say Interview with the Vampire. So that was pretty creepy. So
One of the sequels.
Yeah, she was like
stars-
13.
I think she was maybe younger than that. I
Or
don't know.
12,
She was
something
one of
like
young.
the one of the sequels has Iggy Pop and Thomas Jane in it. So,
Oh, interesting.
but
I don't want to see it.
I don't either. I seriously do not want to ruin how I feel about this first movie. It's great, and I've rewatched it like as an adult and in a modern context, and I think it's still great.
Yeah, there's plenty of people because that came out when I was in high school, so there's plenty of people that thought they were the Crow after that.
Oh yeah, I'm
that
sure there
whole-
was a lot of trench coats and white face paint.
That
sort of
fed
shit
into
going on.
the whole goth movement pretty
Yeah.
hardcore back in.
Yeah, there's a scene where he's like on the roof of a building after he came to life. He takes a break on his vengeance mission, and he plays guitar in the rain on his roof. And I don't know, he must have the most impressive amp system set up on the roof.
Yeah.
And I don't think he has a fucking cord plugged into his guitar. But anyway,
It's one of his powers.
yeah, that's one of his powers.
yeah,
He can just play guitar real loud. But why are you doing this? It's super fucking, like, you're pissing people off,
This is
man.
weird.
People are trying to sleep.
Also,
But
apparently, if you hurt his crow,
oh yeah, that's
that
the
actually
other.
hurts
So
him too.
his crow is his tether to the real world, or to
okay.
the world of the living from the land of the dead. And so the bad guys discover the bad guy's name is Top Dollar, and he has
terrible ponytail.
well, he does have a terrible haircut, but he has a girlfriend who is. I think her name's like her real name is Bai Ling, but she's his Micah in the movie. But he just straight up is like, yeah, that's my sister. It's my father's daughter. So it's like his half sister that he's banging and kissing and
But she's like
whatever. She's like a weird child of the occult, and
Yeah.
like she figures out that the
She's
crow
some
is
kind
the
of
link
witch
to
or something.
So they eventually gun down the crow, and then he has to fight the kind of final battle as just a normal man, and he still wins. And
If I
then
remember
dies.
right, I think that chick was in Star Wars somewhere.
Bai Ling.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull
see.
up her.
Pulling up her
'Cause
IMDb.
I'm pretty sure she was in Playboy. That's why I remember it. And
Oh, she's very
her
attractive.
cover, the cover of the Playboy that she was in. I think she was holding a lightsaber, if I remember correctly.
I don't see anything
No?
in her filmography.
Where is she at? There she is. She was in Revenge of the Sith.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Yep. I was looking at upcoming movies. Apparently.
so I'm
Like,
not full of shit.
I've not heard of any of these. Who did she play? It says she was cut from it,
Okay.
but it was because she posed
in Playboy.
in Playboy. Yeah, she's on
See?
the cover.
I'm not making it up.
Yeah,
Lightsaber was green.
we'll check that out.
It's
in
a
little
very
bit.
specific memory there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna.
Okay. I mean, I can see why she would have been in Playboy.
someday, maybe if we keep doing things, we should do movie commentaries. I'd love to do a movie
God, that'd be
commentary on The
great.
Crow. I think that'd be fun.
That would be fun. That would be
And
fun.
other stuff, plenty of other stuff. But all right, so that's our big 3 Halloween movies.
Yeah. Did we get it right? Did we get it wrong? Let us know. You can do so by sending us an email at geekbattalionvets@gmail.com, or you can hit us up on our socials at geekbnvets. You can find us on TikTok, Instagrams, Facebook, and X.
The Twitters.
That's
the Twitters.
Geek Bravo November Vets, Geek BN Vets.
Do we got any spooky designs in the works? Are you gonna make a Wolfman's Got Nard shirt?
I might. Well, that might. Yeah, Wolfman's Got Nards or Aliens Disney Princess.
Oh yeah, that sounds like a good one.
Shirt. I do have a couple of serviceman related designs that I might put
I'm
out there. I haven't
excited.
decided. It is getting real close to Halloween, so maybe I should just drop them. But yeah.
Well,
so
Veterans
we'll see.
Day's coming up, so you can make some
It's after
military
Halloween,
themed
so
ones.
we'll see.
eventually. But
Well, if you're interested in the
Yeah,
merch
if you're
that we
interested
have,
in them, the merch we already have, you can check us out at geekbattalionvets.threadless.com. We've got a bunch of different designs there. I'm currently wearing an Ahsoka chopper, that little tiny droid war criminal inspired
Innocent
design.
till proven guilty.
Innocent until proven guilty is what it says. Jimmy's currently wearing one of our off-the-wall designs, and Snake is a bitch, and he doesn't have any on. So, to be fair, oh god, he's blasting me with his
He
fucking
blasted
rainbow
me.
laser gun.
Yes.
Desert Eagle.
I didn't
Is
know.
it a deagle? Yeah.
A deagle? I don't know if
deagle?
it's a deagle, but it's
If it's a deagle, it's a beagle.
it's a 5.0.
It's a knockoff Desert Eagle. We got lots of other pop culture designs. We've got some Loki designs for those of you who are watching the Great Disney Plus show.
Yeah.
Ahsoka designs, like I said. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Mandalorian, Guardians of the Galaxy. If you want something, you should check it out. If you want something specific, hit me up. Maybe I'll just make it for you and I'll drop it.
Anything from like Escape from New York or LA? Either one of those?
I'm just gonna
Terrible movies. Why would you even suggest it?
I'm just gonna put in bold white font on a black
You
T-shirt.
even know who Snake Plissken is.
Snake Plissken.
Yeah, Kurt Russell.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Maybe that's a shirt. I'll list all of Kurt Russell's name like
There
roles.
you go.
Oh my
on
God.
a shirt.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Let's do it.
yeah.
All right. Cool.
All right. What about that mail call?
Yeah, let's get after it.
Mail call. Mail call. Mail call. Mail call.
All right.
Spooky.
Nailed it.
Wheels are falling off.
I love it. I love it. No. So the mail call. This is where you, the listener, you write in and you submit your questions to us, and we give our best shot at answering it. Sometimes we give a good answer. Sometimes we give a bad. But generally, I like the answers that we give. Very informative sometimes.
A little biased, but I'll allow it.
I did pose our big 3 to a couple of friends, and I got a response back. And one of them, from a friend of the show, he's written in before, from Viking11. He says, as far as favorite Halloween movies go, it's a toss-up between Nightmare Before Christmas and Hocus Pocus. However, has anyone watched Overlord? If not, I suggest it. It's an interesting one. It takes place in World War II and has a monster/zombie-like deal.
That's like, it's kind of got like a Doom feel to it. Or not, Wolfenstein. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, like I've seen like the previews, and it feels almost like COD zombies almost.
Yeah, I've never seen it, but it's Nazi zombies, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard good things. I've never seen it either. So
Yeah, it came out a couple of years ago. It's a fun little film. It seems cool. But no, I haven't seen it, so you guys...
No.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
what was the other one you said? Hocus Pocus and what? Oh,
Hocus Pocus.
Nightmare
Nightmare Before Christmas. That I feel bad because I didn't have it on the list, but not really like the vibe I was going for on that.
it's not really my thing either.
Yeah, but
I'm not a big fan.
I love the movie. My wife and I, we love the movie too, and it kind of like builds into our personal relationship because Jack and Sally and everything. But that's one of our movies that we like.
Hocus Pocus is dog shit, though. I'm throwing that out there.
Yeah, my wife.
I've never actually
she likes
seen
Hocus
it, so-
Pocus.
So bad.
I've only
That's the
seen
Sarah
it the
Jessica
once.
Parker. She's in
Bette
that.
Midler.
Yeah, Bette Midler. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they made a Hocus Pocus 2.
Yeah, that was pretty recent too, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
I think last year.
Maybe last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
All right. Well,
Was there a question there, or is he just throwing out
mostly
history?
just like
Okay.
have we seen Overlord and submitting his things?
No,
Yeah.
I haven't. Not it looked cool, but I'm not really. Not zombies. I'm not. It's not really my thing either. But I do have a spooky themed one here.
Okay.
From our good friend Tony. Oh, I thought you were doing something spooky over there.
there it is.
Which character are you least likely to defeat and why? He gives 3 options here. Number 1, Sam from Trick or Treat. Number 2, Chucky from Child's Play. And number 3, Gage from the original Pet Sematary.
Which he spelled incorrectly.
Okay. I don't remember them spelling his name in the movie, but...
No, cemetery.
Oh, Cemetery.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
The
Okay.
movie he spelled cemetery right, but the movie spells Pet Cemetery with an SEMATA.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's the
really?
clarification.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, if only he was here to clarify that.
Oh. Well, he is an English major. We have mentioned that before, right? I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say it was autocorrect. So
That's good looking out.
I can only pick from 2 because I have no idea what the
So
hell Trick
who
or
are
Treat is.
who are the bad guys again?
Sam from Trick or Treat. I've never fucking heard of that.
Trick or Treat. I don't know who that is.
Yep, I have nothing to go off on that
Chucky
one.
from Child's Play or Gage from Pet Cemetery.
Are they all like children? I was looking at.
I don't know what Sam is, but I was going to pick Gage because that would be a little kid that maybe is my son. I don't know the context of the question, but
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
go. I got to go on default and go with Chucky because I don't know the other two.
why couldn't you defeat him? Just like drop kick him
Yeah, I
across
could
the street or something.
Definitely take Chucky.
Yeah, me
he's,
too.
He's fucking immortal.
Okay.
Yeah, but if I put him in a fucking safe and I drop him to the bottom of a fucking lake, what's he gonna do to me?
Right. I'm not going out by some fucking little toy doll, man.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some kind of a plot hole. It's gonna rust, and then he's gonna come out, and then he's gonna kill you.
Oh, I'll already be dead by the
That's
time
fine,
that
yeah, I'll
happens.
be
so-
long
Put him
gone,
into a
so-
shredder. I think would.
I'm gonna go with the probably Gage, because I mean, if you know anything about that movie, that's fucking. You've never seen Pet Cemetery? Are you fucking kidding me?
Me
Oh
either.
my god!
No.
You neither of you?
No.
No, my wife saw the reboot a couple of years ago when that came out, but
no.
I haven't seen it. Yeah.
Terrifying movie. Well, since you don't know who Gage is, I'll just break it down for you. So this is Stephen King, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there are these really creepy northeastern, like I think it's in Maine or something like that.
Everything happens in
Yeah,
Maine.
you can't don't go up there, you know. But there's a pet cemetery where you can bury your pets at, like one does. But if you go a little bit further down the path, there's an ancient Indian burial ground.
Oh, no.
That if you bury your pet there, they come back to life and it's evil. So the first thing that happens is their cat. I think they live on this highway. Their house is like butted up to the highway. And Herman Munster, who is the neighbor, he's also the judge from My Cousin Vinny. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
No? Okay.
I do. I've seen My Cousin Vinny.
But he was Herman Munster back in the day. He's the creepy neighbor that knows these legends.
These spooky legends.
He when the new family moves to town, their cat gets ran over on the highway or whatever, and the whole family's all broken up about it because they don't know anybody here and they're real sad. So
Yeah.
he goes and buries the cat in the Indian burial ground, and it comes back, and it's just, in my opinion, it's just a cat. Like, I don't like cats, so like, it's just an evil prick.
So that's what he's saying, that if we could fight was the cat?
No.
Okay.
Gage is his like 4-year-old son,
Okay.
who also gets run over on the highway.
Oh, shit.
Oh, Jesus.
And he goes and buries him in the pet cemetery to bring his son back. But then Gage murders his wife, and there's this terrible, terrible scene where evil Gage is talking to the dad, the main character, and he's like, I just played with mommy. Now I want to play with you. And he's got like a scalpel. So he has to kill his evil kid that he just buried his son that,
Yeah.
Sounds
bad.
It's fucking terrible.
That
I could
sounds terrible.
definitely kill that 4-year-old though.
Yeah,
I'm
but-
looking at Sam from Trick or Treat, and he's like an immortal like spirit of Halloween who's existed ever since the Celtic pagans celebrated it. He's got immortality, necromancy, teleportation, telekinesis, supernatural strength, pyrokinesis, and he has a knife. I think I can take the 4-year-old with a scalpel. So that's
but
I'm least likely to beat Sam from Trick or Treat.
That, I guess the way I'm looking at this, if it was just some
It's not my 4-year-old.
That's what I'm saying.
It's
If it
just
was
some
my
random.
4-year-old,
yeah, that
it'd
would be
fucking
terrible, but I
that'd
could
be
still take him.
okay.
It would be atrocious, but if my
Man,
zombie
I
kid
don't
that
know.
I made is trying to kill me, I gotta do what I gotta do.
I guess I get it, but
So-
I don't know. I don't think I could, even if it was evil and looked like my son. I don't know. I don't think I could.
Yeah.
I think I could do it. I don't know. I'll take my shot with the necromancer or whatever.
Yeah, I can't beat
Spirit of
Sam
Halloween.
from Trick or Treat.
Yeah,
he's immortal.
He sounds pretty terrible.
Yeah, he's immortal. And he's pretty
Yeah.
creepy looking. So
No,
but-
the Force is one with me, and I'm one with the Force, so it'll be fine.
okay.
I was gonna go another route with that, but we'll just go keep it Star Wars.
Yeah, good luck with your force there.
Yeah, I'll just get the chick from The Crow that was in Playboy. Me
Yeah.
and her will team up.
Yeah, by Ling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's next?
I've got one here from our friend Hee, friend of the show. He said, "Who is your favorite villain and why?" And then part 2 is, "And is there a villain worse than your favorite, and what makes them worse?"
I've always thought that Vader has been one of the greatest villains of all time, and then when we find out he murdered a bunch of children, so that kind of ups his stock a little bit. But I'm gonna throw out there Homelander.
Homelander.
Homelander's fucking
Yeah.
the worst.
Yeah, that's a good one. Vader is hard to beat in terms of like feats of evil.
Yeah.
Right? Like
yeah.
killing a bunch of innocent kids.
That he knew. Like,
He trained
he had
him.
Yeah,
personal
Like maybe
relationship
even
with
earlier
these
that
kids.
day, he could have been like, well,
Yeah.
maybe not that day. 'Cause of
But,
everything,
and then, I mean, just his part in the destruction of Alderaan and everything else, all the comic book feats of terrible viciousness that he has done. It's hard to argue that.
And they tried to blame him for the sequels because they just put his helmet in there. You know, that's
I
not
guess you
fair.
could probably argue Palpatine is
Yeah.
maybe a little bit
I
more
mean,
of
he
a...
didn't kill any children that I'm
No, but
aware
he's the
of.
one who manipulated Anakin into doing
He
it.
did in the Darth Plagueis book. He did have his whole family killed. So I mean, he's a piece of shit.
Oh, he like I see what you're saying.
Palpatine
He like
did.
ordered his families to be killed. or
I
family
think he
to be
killed most of them actually himself, bare hands.
Man, I'm trying to come up
I've
with one better
got
than that.
two. The T-1000 from Terminator 2. Just because
a good
he
one.
was very maniacal. Well, not maniacal, but methodical. And it just like he was scary like that.
Okay.
But moreover, Agent Smith from The Matrix, really good villain.
Oh, yeah,
a
excellent villain.
Great counterpart to who Neo was.
He was the antithesis of Neo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
anti-hero. Yeah,
Oh, he's definitely not an anti-hero. He's a dick.
or I know I'm thinking
He's
I'm thinking of antagonist.
He's the opposite side of the coin from Neo.
Yeah.
No, that's a great. That's a good one. I like
yeah.
that one.
I'm trying to think. Like, I guess I could just go with the obvious answer because I'm a Batman fan and say Joker. He's killed like thousands and thousands of people. I know these aren't Darth Vader numbers here because he didn't blow up any planets, but depending
well,
on
Tarkin did that. I mean,
Yeah.
but Vader was there. And in the Injustice series, he detonates a nuclear warhead in Metropolis and kills millions of people who live there, as well as tricking Superman into killing his wife who's pregnant
Right.
with their unborn child. So that's pretty fucked up. As far as the second part of the question, is there a villain who's worse than your villain pick? I mean, there's always a badder dude, but it's hard to.
if we're talking just movies, Al Pacino in the Devil's Advocate, where he's Satan, like he's pretty bad.
Satan is tough to beat there.
Yeah, that's this top villain.
Made Charlize Theron kill herself. Like he's a piece of shit.
Hans Gruber from Inglourious Bastards. He's a pretty good villain.
Hans
Gruber
Gruber
is
is from Die Hard.
Die Hard.
Or
Hans Landa.
yes, that one.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
I was just looking at the list and that they were both right next to each other. But yeah.
I'm trying to think of let's see.
Oh, what about John Doe from Seven?
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
That's a pretty terrible
Pretty
one.
Pretty evil.
Yeah.
I mean, Thanos destroyed
Yeah,
50% of all life in the universe, the
Yeah.
entire universe. So
that's bad.
that's pretty bad. He was right, but
So he killed more kids than Vader.
that is
yeah,
true.
he killed definitely
Probably
more people,
did. Yeah.
kids, anything,
And dogs.
than anyone. Yeah, I mean, half of all life. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, but he wasn't a dick about it,
No, he did it in the most
Yeah.
humane way you possibly could. They just
he didn't feel anything.
turned to dust,
Turned to
disappear.
dust.
Can you imagine though if Vader, like, he strikes a kid, they didn't quite die, so he has to re-strike him?
Oh, he
Well,
like
just that
he
scene-
whiffed and winged him a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
Just that scene in Revenge of the Sith where that kid's like, "What do we do? There's
the
too many.
Skywalker."
There's too many of them." And then he's just like,
Oh.
"I'll take care of it."
well, he's like crying too
Yeah.
while he's doing it. Like,
Yeah.
No. Maybe he's doing.
Oh, he's torn.
he's taking a shit. What? Oh, that was the laugh. I'm sorry.
He's torn.
It's torn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hard to say more evil than Joker. I mean, he's
Is there
just.
a politician we're missing somewhere? Oh, wait, that's real life.
Yeah, we
Never
don't
mind.
want to get too much into that.
we could go crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess if I'm thinking like cinematic history, Vader's probably my guy.
Yeah, I mean, Vader he's pretty fucking evil there. But
Yeah, like if you did a montage of him murdering children, then go to like the Rogue One hallway scene, where he's just slicing up all those dudes.
Yeah.
Like,
But I
yeah,
also
that's pretty
like what I
badass.
like about Vader now with more context is like the fall.
Oh, 100%.
And where we started with his character and then where he ends up in the end. Like that's part of a good villain too. Is kind of a
I agree.
The redemption
like
arc.
the pure evil stuff is good, and it's I don't always like giving a character a sympathetic background. Like some people are just evil for evil's sake, and that's the real world. That shit happens. But I do like, especially with what we've been seeing of Anakin lately, and Hayden Christensen and whatnot. Like that has the makings of one of the greatest villains of all time for sure.
Right.
Saw.
See, I never really liked those.
Jigsaw.
I couldn't get into those, man.
And it's weird because like he's trying to like save these people, or like he gives them an out from their vice or whatever. But it's still like really fucking
Yeah, but it's like, who the fuck are you, man?
Yeah.
Like, who are you to play judge and jury and
Right.
executioner
really
and all this shit?
fucked up like shit like that.
I'm looking at an IGN list of top 100 comic book villains, and it is just riddled with fucking typos. Like, number 71, Thunderbolt Rose.
Come
Not
on.
Thunderbolt Ross.
Come on.
Where was it? I can't remember what number it was, but it was Soctor Savannah instead of Dr. Savannah.
Who's Dr.
Dr. Savannah is he's basically the Lex Luthor evil supervillain type of Captain Marvel or Shazam.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So yeah, but just riddled with fucking typos here. So
All right, well, that's a good question.
yeah,
Yeah, that was good.
Thanks,
I
Hee-Hee.
can't think of
appreciate it.
anything better, but I guess Vader wins.
Ooh, Omni Man's a good one. I just saw
Ooh, yeah.
Omni Man.
You haven't watched Invincible, have you?
I'll leave it.
With Bruce Willis.
No.
No, the cartoon.
No, I'm thinking
that's Unbreakable.
Unbreakable.
Yeah, Unbreakable.
But Invincible, no, I have not watched.
I'll leave it there.
Yeah, that's good.
On to the sit rep.
Nope.
Or not. That's how we start the show.
Yep,
but,
we're gonna move on to safety
we could
brief.
do
Safety
safety
brief.
brief.
Yeah, there we go. Safety brief. It's late. Yeah, there we go.
Well, Halloween's over, and I didn't finish your costume, so now that I have more than 28 days notice, I can you know, maybe get the
started
next one.
on the
Yeah, for next year.
on the next one. Now I just got to come up with an idea.
Yeah.
So
All right. Badass.
Still doing cardio
Right now?
right now, even.
all right.
Yeah.
he's doing high speed
out.
Kegels.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that? Can you do enough to get a cardio workout from that?
Man,
Yeah.
Kegels are like this. The
Try it.
yeah.
No, I'm tired.
You should try
secret of
because we
life.
have to take a lot of breaks for you to go pee.
That's true. You want to check my prostate while you're at it?
No, I'm good.
All right.
While I'm at what?
I don't know.
Get up in that ass, Larry.
Okay, Ace and Gary.
You get in that ass, Larry.
Oh yeah, that's a good villain. There's the guy from Ambiguously Gay Duo.
What was his name?
I think it's like Braino or something like
What
that.
is everybody looking at?
Let's see. What's his name?
He's the one that he'll say like, "Do they have a gay thing?"
Yeah.
And everybody's like, "Whoa, whoa!"
Yeah. There's Big Head, and then there's Dr. Brainio, and then there's let's see. Ooh, there's Flame Eye, who is voiced by Bill Hader.
No
Has
shit.
a fiery right eye that can shoot fire from it. There's Half Scary, a Two-Face like bad guy. Lizardo, a lizard man. The Queen Serena.
I didn't realize there was that
Orbitrox.
many episodes.
Apparently there were 12. 12
No
3-minute
shit.
episodes, or 3-ish minute episodes.
Oh, I know what I'm doing later.
Yeah.
David Pumpkins and Ambiguously Gay Duo.
You should watch episode 4, Safety Tips. Ace and Gary demonstrate bicycle and home safety tips for local kids.
Hold on to my belt.
Yeah, there's just one. There's a clip where one of the kids, they're showing him something. This one kid just goes, "You're gay. And they just, we are gay, and you can be gay like us and enjoy your life, like be happy too, and whatever, and just move on from it. It's very funny. One of these days this is gonna get us canceled. But
Yeah, bring that back. Hey, if you can't laugh at that, come on.
they did a live action ambiguously gay duo skit that I didn't watch, but I just saw it when I was looking it up. That included Jimmy Fallon as either Ace and or Gary. So.
Why didn't Steve Carell or Stephen Colbert have the
Probably
balls
because
to
they have
come
real
back and do
careers,
that?
yeah, and they don't want to.
Yeah.
But I don't know exactly when it was from. I don't know if it was before Jimmy Fallon was on the Jimmy Fallon show or not. But
So what do we got? We got anything special in the works? What do we got coming up here? We got Veterans Day. We got
Veterans Day.
the holiday. The holiday.
Oh, Thanksgiving.
The Marine Corps birthday. I mean, that's the day before Veterans Day. So
Yeah.
I will be celebrating. So I'll probably force you all to partake. So
all right.
Well, I'll do a shot for my brethren.
yeah.
I won't, but I don't drink.
That's fine.
I'll raise a sparkling ice to you.
And because I could do it.
Use mid sip.
Oh,
yes. Sprayed that all over the fucking mic.
My plan is working perfectly. All right, for Christ's sake, let's get out of here.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Don't go to
Let's
Tijuana.
Yeah. Thanks everybody. Geek Battalion out.
See you
Fly
next
with me,
time.
friend of friends.